Okay, there we go.
We're live.
You are live. Oh my gosh. So funny. It does take a minute for people to join, and I do apologize. Like I don't know about you. Well, yeah, I actually don't know about you. I don't celebrate Mother's Day. And so I forget, like, people, I mean, not because I mean, obviously my kids call me and they're like, "Hey, happy Mother's Day."
Right,
But it's never been a thing. And,
right.
I don't know, like when they were growing up, I was always like, screw those Hallmark holidays. We should celebrate things that are important. And I would follow it up with the speech every Mother's Day and Father's Day of like, the important thing is you value them every day, and
That's
every
right.
day you should be thinking this way. So
I think we
I
should do Mother's Day on I think when it's your birthday is when you celebrate your mom. Like, I feel like
Yeah,
the
that makes
mom
sense.
does all the work, like giving birth to you. So how come the kid gets all the like fun and presents and stuff on the birthday? I think it should go to the mom.
Right? That's a really valid point. I could have used like just someone watching the kids on their birthday. Those
Right?
parties are insane. We would have like these crazy parties for the girls where I'm like, why are there freaking 60 people in my house? What was
Right.
I
Oh,
thinking? How come you have
yeah.
so many friends? Stop this chaos. And then
Oh
like
my
I would
gosh.
always be like trying to up it. At first I thought I was doing good with the Elmo cake on Genova's first birthday. It was legit. But then by the time they were teenagers, I'm like,
I
trip
know.
to
I
Disneyland?
Right. Yeah. No. Can't keep up. Don't want to. They don't want you to. I mean, it's kind of it
Yeah.
becomes a wash. They're like, "Can you just give me $50 and let me hang out with my friends?"
Totally. Literally, my 20-something-year-old this year was straight up like, "Hey, I don't know what you did for my birthday, but I just got pulled over. My ticket's 150. I could use 150." And I'm like,
Right?
okay." So much for
Yeah.
sentimental.
It's like, let's get real. Let's get down to the brass tacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Always
Well,
something practical.
yeah, right? Well, I'm super glad you're here. Thank you so much. Being a holiday and everything. And again, my bad. Oh, Brandy says Mother's Day started in West Virginia during the Civil War to actually help mothers by Anna Jarvis. Oh, see,
Cool.
that
Nice
got
factoid,
lost in
Andy.
history. I mean, there's more to it, but it's long.
Yeah.
I
You
love
know
it,
what?
Brandy.
I do find it's interesting that if you look like across different continents, there are these indigenous practices or practices that were started to help women help each other, right?
Okay.
And like
Okay.
somehow as our societies have evolved, all of those seem to have gone by the wayside. So like, when you're menstruating, having a week off and other people do the cooking, other people mind the kids so that you can rest. Like, no, we don't do that anymore. Or having a Mother's Day where, uh, you know, others come together to cook and clean and care for and honor and reward, you know. I
Yeah.
I hear you, Brandy. I hear you. That it's like because you need a break, and
Yeah.
we're so traditionally the caretakers, the ones who take care of everything. The fact that even the acknowledgments for that have disappeared is such a shame.
Yeah. For sure. It reminds me of like the hypnobirthing. Like when I was going through that and doing hypnobirthing, which, I'm a huge advocate for. Um, it was amazing to me to sit there and be like, wait, these other cultures just pop out babies and they just
Yeah,
hook each other up and go on with life.
right.
And that's why I was like, I'm not having a normal baby. And I had my kids that way, the hypnobirthing, but it is that whole like women helping women, and I don't know. It's a whole different ballpark for us. So I guess, that all being said, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Okay, so a lot of you heard about me talk about Coco Collie coming. She's been a longtime friend of mine, and I absolutely adore her. She's someone that I almost daily engage with, which a lot of people know is rare for me. But she's become a very important person in my life. She has so much knowledge. I know I was listing off a lot of her certifications before, and the list is very long. Like, you seem to just collect so much information, not only like officially, but then it just in your life, your curiosity of like growth and spirituality and empowering women, it just never ends. Like, I mean, even just talking to you sometimes, I'm like, I did not even know that. That's amazing. And I love that about you, is you just have so
Yeah.
much knowledge. And so for you to take the time out of your busy day, because I know you're moving, you're setting all kinds of things up, and you've got this massive company and life and all these things you're doing. I just really appreciate you being here. So
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure. I'm excited. I'm excited to interact with you and your people, and to just have a great healing conversation, and let us love on life.
I love it. So you specific, and I know I'm going to say this wrong. Let me first start out by saying I'm not sure if you got my messages, because I did realize later, like at midnight or something, I didn't send them. But you and I talked about you coming on, and we just kind of felt it out. And you were like, this is what I'm going to do. And I was like, cool. How do you say that and spell that? And I'd heard of it before, but I'll be honest, I just like disregarded it. So clearly
Mhm,
it's not getting communicated very well
mhm.
to the general masses. But in addition to that, I've been working with a healer for a couple of weeks now. I think I told you, I can't remember, but I've been working with a healer for a couple of weeks now, and it's been amazing. Like, on Sunday last week, all my pain for my kidneys stopped. And then
Mm.
it like opened up all these other things and all these other past lives. And like every day, I just am like, can I just meditate all day? Like, I am getting so much like through me.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is it's through this practice of the how, ho-
Ho
ho-
ho uh uh uh.
Ho'oponopono, no, what?
Ho. Let us all say it together.
Okay.
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono. That's so much
Yeah.
easier than
It
I
sounds like
believed.
a popsicle, doesn't it? I
Yeah,
want a ho'oponopono.
it sounds
I want the
lovely.
orange flavor.
Smooth, wonderful, Ho'oponopono. Yes, I love it. Okay, so what's funny is that's the practice that she has me doing, and it's been
Uh,
so amazing. And I say this, and I'm totally just talking too much, and I swear to God, I'll shut up soon, because I know you have way more to share with us, and everyone hears from me all the time. But one of the things that's amazing is, they have like shadow work, they have past life regression, there's all these things and all these names of all these practices. And
yeah.
really, they're just practices from around the world that are very similar.
Yes.
This one I found was actually like, 'cause you practice them and then you're like, that one vibes with me or that one does it. And this one, I was like, this is really vibing with me. Like,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, and I did not expect that. I thought it was like a fluff kind of thing. So,
I know you did, because I suggested it to you before for something, and you were like, I think you totally dissed it.
uh-huh, I did. I was like, that's really cute. I don't need to
Yeah.
hug myself.
Yeah,
That's
no.
it's my
You're
perception.
but I think that's part of the power of this practice, because it's deceptively simple. And yet when you really internalize it and take it on, it's transformative in a way that you cannot expect.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was actually one of the things she had told me was because as you know, I box myself in and I get kind of like stuck mentally. And one of the things is I think also like you, knowing that I get stuck that way, she was like, just let it come. Don't
Mm,
She gave me very little information on it.
yeah.
And that's probably why I accepted it and why it became so powerful, because I didn't put it in this construct that I believed it should have been.
Right. It's so tough. I find that people, certainly curious people, who love information always want to know, what is this? What is it supposed to do? How is it supposed to work? What steps do I take? And what outcomes can I expect? And so it's this very Western, very aggressive, dare I say, masculine, energetic kind of way of pursuing things. It's really hard to let that go when we're in the realm of metaphysics. uh, when we're in the realm of metaphysics, it's so much a balance between the practices that we do and then allowing the energetic shift and transformation to occur, and
Yeah.
then kind of look back and see, oh, that's what happened, as opposed to trying to predict how it's going to work out for you, because the results are different for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true.
It
So,
is okay, so there is okay, oh, so good. Okay, so we've got someone spelling the Ho'oponopono,
yeah.
um, which is great. Okay, yes, you got that figured out.
Yes.
So, okay, here's something that I think is cool, and a fact that as we learn modern Ho'oponopono, people don't really talk about. And forgive me, I'm terrible with names, so if I mispronounce this, but the mother or the grandmother of modern Ho'oponopono is Morna Nalamaku Simeona. I'm probably saying that incorrectly, but I do my
But it's
best.
beautiful.
And so, how this practice started out, it was a tool to heal tribal relations. So, if you
Um,
had two tribes that were warring, they would come together in a room or around a fire, and they would do this practice for each other. And so it was like for families, for tribes, for teams. And it was meant to be in person, and it required the other party to participate in this healing experience, right? So
wow.
if you and I had a beef with each other, we would come together with a Huna master, okay, a Hawaiian priest or priestess who could facilitate Ho'oponopono, and we would get to that part that we'll talk more about the different stages and the mindset you need to have it be maximally effective, but who would guide them through the stages so that they would say, I'm sorry to each other. You can Google this all day and all night. So the 4 steps are: I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you.
Yes.
Okay, so that's like this, the simplicity of it. But and who would facilitate them doing that? And if you can imagine these beefy, strong, masculine men who are passionate and just angry and ready to take heads off and have taken heads off, and to get them to that place where they could just simply say, I'm sorry to each other, you know, to
Amazing.
take an ownership and an accountability for the destruction that is being caused because of this, this fight that they're in. That that's probably costing lives, it's costing incomes, it's costing quality of life for everyone on both or all tribes. For them to even get to that stage to be able to say, I'm sorry to each other is huge. And then to be able to ask, to be vulnerable and ask for forgiveness of one another, you know, and
Mhm.
so on. And then to thank each other and do this from a genuine place. This is like how Ho'oponopono was born and what its purpose was. And what grandmother Morna did was she said, well, if, with everything I know about spirituality and how things work, what if you didn't need the other tribe or other person to be present for this healing to occur? What if you could just do it within yourself? And out of that, modern day Ho'oponopono was born, where it's now like a meditation and a process that you go through to help elevate yourself. And that even if you never have another conversation with the person that has caused you hurt or harm or frustration or anger, you can realize complete forgiveness and complete healing from that situation using this process.
That's amazing. Um, Sedona is outside my door crying because I shut my door. So give me 1 second. I'm going to grab
Okay.
her. I think that that's amazing. And that's what you're going to run us through today, right?
We're going to talk some more about it. We're going to kind of take a little bit of a deep dive into it, and then depending on what kind of questions we get, we'll follow our muse. We'll see where we need to go.
Okay. So on top of that, oh hey Paula. Um on top of that, this is up to you all, but sorry, come here. She's just gonna cry.
Hi, Sedona.
Yeah. Jojo, you're so
We
cute.
love you.
She is so cute. She's my baby today. Lola is she slept with me this morning, and so Sedona has decided this afternoon is hers.
It's her
Um,
time.
but anyways, one of the things I was going to ask is it's so honestly, it's just been so amazing and transformative for me. Does anyone mind, including you, Coco Collie, if we just, instead of going backstage, if we just go through the whole thing here and share it with everyone? Because I just think it's so powerful and so healing. The more masses, the better. Is that okay?
Sure, whatever you guys want. I mean, I was kind of thinking that once we went backstage, it would give us an opportunity to like actually engage with your participants, and I would be able to get more personal information and personalize it for them. But I mean, we don't need to do that. We can. That was just out of respect to not everybody wants to, share all of their deets, So
Oh no, I got you. Okay, so we are diving. So maybe we should, because that's true. Like that's actually one of the reasons why we set up the firesides the way we did is
yeah.
for privacy reasons.
Sure. So
So
I think that what I can totally, you can ask questions and we can kind of go through the different steps and elements of what it takes, and then and even do a little guided meditation with it, and then maybe when we get to the Q&A and some spot coaching around it, we can go behind the curtain.
okay. Yeah, behind the curtain. That's a really good idea because then they can
Okay.
ask specific about their own, and that's what the readings are the same way. Like I'll be
Okay.
on here, but then we go back for readings because that's it's
Okay. Sure.
anyway.
Same.
So yeah, okay. So I have some questions before we
Okay.
do, and
Okay.
and maybe you're gonna talk about it. So again, if I need to
Oh,
stop,
ask away. Let's
okay,
do it.
I'm like it's me.
Okay.
So uh with this, it's very much like, from what I gathered, it's like a mantra. You do the candle, you say it 108 times, and you really are letting the energy flow. But it is very much targeted towards your heart. Yeah.
That's one way to do it. And that's
Okay.
one way that it shows up. And there's like infinite ways to do the Ho'oponopono practice.
Okay.
So, um, initially, when you don't have that instant access to the heart center, or you're working on developing, opening,
Oh,
and expanding the heart center, it's probably going to come out more like a mantra.
okay.
When you have an active and open heart center, you might dive deeper into the other kind of aspects of like a specific portion of it. Like you might spend more time on the gratitude. You might spend more time on your sincere, sorrow and condolences that you've like contributed to the situation. Like it just depends on where you are in your journey. It depends on the situation. Um, and it depends on what's activated, what is needed for your healing. And
Yeah.
so it can be very powerful in that way that if you are just being present with it, the energy is going to take you where it needs to go, just like with any other metaphysical healing practice.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I've gathered is like practicing it myself. I'm experiencing, to your point, like sometimes like just I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm feeling that. And then
Yeah.
other times I love you. I'm like, whoa, like it's evolved every day.
Yeah.
Um and just how I'm experiencing it.
Now, let me ask you, how do you experience feeling it in your body when you say the different parts of the
Yep.
prayer?
So when I first did it, I actually felt tightness in my throat.
Mm,
just just the beginning of, like, as soon as I set my intention and started just breathing,
mhm,
I was like, my throat's tight. And then I was like, well, I am always, because you and I have talked about, I always have throat issues. I and well, that's sorry, I just almost went off on a tangent. As I do when we're all talking. I'm like, and then there was this experience this week, and I'm like, stop. Um, but yeah, so like I definitely like felt it in my throat the first time. And then as it's progressed, I felt it in different places. So
Mhm.
today I actually felt it kind of like off to my side.
Mhm.
And I just kept going. I kept working with it. I kept breathing through it and releasing it. And then it was gone. When it dissipated, that's when I saw like so many lives go out. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like that was, it might not have been in the central heart chakra, but it clearly was a part of my heart chakra and
Mhm.
tied to that. And
Mhm.
so I was like, wow, like so easily on your own without spending hours of, mentally processing it, just letting the feelings go. I think
Right.
that's
Yes,
more than
yes.
you asked for. But yes, I have felt it physically.
Yeah. And also, I think the thing I also want to point out by asking you that is that depending on what you're working on, right? You might be working on your relationship with your mother or your father or money or those childhood bullies that you can't seem to shake or, workplace trauma and drama or healing from an injury or heal or helping wanting to contribute to someone else healing from an injury that you helped cause or there's so many, there's injury that we feel and then there's injury that we have contributed to.
Yeah.
One of the premises of Ho'oponopono is that we take responsibility that this world, this existence that we live in is our own creation. So
Yeah.
everything you experience, right? I mean, this is like a spiritual premise here. So everything you experience, you are the cause. And so
Mhm.
people are like, well, I didn't cause someone to be a drunk driver and hit me with their car.
Right.
But somehow, through the cosmic balance of the universe, there is an aspect to us that did. And it could be something from this lifetime, it could be something from past lifetimes, but there was something in us that either created it through maybe we did this kind of action ourselves and now this is it boomeranging back to us, or maybe we felt deserving of it because something else that we did that was a very like terrible act that we used to do regularly, and then we felt such tremendous guilt that we're like, oh, I deserve to be punished by the universe, I deserve for bad things to happen to me. And in this current existence where we're just in survival mode and we want to play and have fun, we're like, oh no, I would never wish something like that on myself. But yet there's some belief deep inside that might be causing us to help create these negative events that occur in our lives. And so we need tools like Ho'oponopono to help clear that energy. But it starts by us taking accountability as the creator in my life.
Mhm.
I create through my I create through my thoughts, I create through my actions and deeds. I create through how I treat people, I create by how I treat myself. And in this, I'm creating an energetic frequency. We're going to, all things lead back to this, right? Where I magnetize and I draw certain experiences to myself. And so through
Yeah.
that, I can find anything. If I have witnessed it, if I hear about it, if I read about it, or if I did it myself, I am a creator of that experience. So when you look at some of the, you could just like watch the news, right? And see something that's going on and, say it's politics, these horrible, horrible politics. You can do Ponopono to say, wait, I helped contribute to the creation of this politics as it stands today. And I'm sorry. I'm like, whatever I did, however I did that, whatever actions caused me to be a contribution to politics as we see them and live them today, I am so sorry for my part in creating that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for my part in creating that. And like find that genuine place of genuineness, of really like owning I created that somehow and I'm truly sorry for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty powerful.
I'm kind of checking to see if there are any questions. I want to say I'm open to questions at any time. And I'm also open to feedback if there's like, if anybody has their own personal experience with dealing with these kinds of things. I find that a lot of times people will take the practice and just, oh, I'm sorry, please forgive me. thank you, I love you, and just kind of just let that evolve, and that's great, um, especially for beginners. But I feel really confident in saying that your group, your audience here, are you guys study and talk and discuss spirituality on a weekly basis. So I really want to emphasize for you all how important it is to connect with that I am the creator, right? I am a co-creator in this world for everything I experience. And let that help you take not only what you do with Ho'oponopono, you could forget it tomorrow. And it wouldn't matter if you take even just this one lesson into any other practice that you take on, how much more powerful that practice will be for you.
Right.
Yeah,
Brandy asked a question. She says, so it's kind of like karma.
it is. This is definitely a karma purifying practice.
Yeah.
So it's not that tit for tat kind of karma, like what you put out is what comes back to you. It's like, no, it's like saying, hey, I designed this movie that I'm in. I wrote the script, I produced it, I direct it, you know. And in that creation, there's energetic frequency where I'm experiencing this pain and suffering as a result of being a part of this creation.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's huge. And like you said, I've been working, well, gosh, almost for like a year now on like deep karma, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, there's all these layers of it, right?
Oh,
And I've been going like deeper and deeper and doing all kinds of karmic. That was one of the first things. So when we first met, we exchanged readings and
yeah.
she was like, girl, you're karma. And I'm like, I hear that a lot. So and so I just this year was like, this is it. I'm doing it, and I'm almost
Yeah.
completely full circle on it. But and maybe that's why this particular one was so transformational for me, because I'd already used all the tools in my toolbox, right? Guides, meditations, astral, like all these other things that I normally resonate with, which has been primarily like pagan and Christian, and this combination of complexities, and then the Hinduism. And so when this came in, it was very funny because I had been getting kind of pulled to go back to like the Mayan and stuff. And this totally, not that it is, but it more aligned with what I was starting to transition to.
Hmm.
And it's released so much more because our whole lives we're working on things, right? And
Right.
every time for years now, I have gone and into past lives and healed them and done these other things. Each time it gets cooler and cooler,
Right.
where I'm
Yes.
just like, yeah, like I'm like, well, that just changed everything. And then you integrate it, right? And then you're like, wonderful. And so it was just like so I don't know. And I'm trying to think even like how many years I've been working on like past, like, I'll probably in like my 20s, I was like working on like past like childhood trauma and that kind of like this present life stuff. And
Right.
then I would say like in my 30s is when, and now I'm well past that. But in my 30s is when I
19 forever. No.
started, when I started going through past life stuff, and it's because it started abruptly getting involved in my life, and I was like, well, I got to deal with this.
Right.
um and but you can always look back and go, it was here,
Yeah.
it was here. But until you're ready to deal with it, you can't really fully harness it. And so I think kind of what you're saying too is, if you're going to do this practice, be genuine about it.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, you can start out by just going through the motions, but
Hmm.
at some point, there should be some genuality and
Hmm.
some release, and this turnover of servitude to yourself that really starts allowing the transformation. Would that be
Hmm.
about right?
Yeah, to yourself, and really, I mean, to others, right? Like, remember how this practice started, that it was to create, harmony and healing, like amongst warring teams. And so, if you can imagine like that, either within yourself, but then also all the conflicts that you experience in your life. And it doesn't matter how evolved we get. Even the Dalai Lama still experiences worldly conflict, right? And so this is like bigger than our doing this practice and focusing on the inner of this practice is really bigger than us,
Yeah.
right? Because again, the war in Ukraine, like I can ho'oponopono for that because I heard about it. That's part of my experience. I created that experience,
Yeah. I
you
understand.
know?
Yeah.
So even any little bit particle, if we're, if we could see it in pixels, if our karma existed in pixels, you know, every pixel that we clear of karmic debt is beneficial for us, but it's also beneficial for all we come into contact with in the world.
Right.
That is the joy and the bliss of doing karma purifying spiritual practices.
Well, and I think it would be something you would continue to do. There's
Yeah, but I mean, look, this is going to be fine and fancy, and hopefully you all love it for a while. But you're going to discover something new, and it's going to be shiny and exciting, and it's okay for it to evolve. But what will happen is that I hope that after today, this practice is in you. Like
yeah.
that's my mission, right? Is for it to be in you. So you'll hopefully take this on, do this practice on the regular for a while, and then we know how life is. Maybe you move on to doing Sanskrit mantra. Maybe you move on to doing spirit writing. Maybe you move on to doing pujas and or focusing, you decide, you know what, I really enjoy my gratitude practice more than anything else. And so I'm really going to focus on my daily journaling and gratitude practice. Well, this being in you, you get to take this back to that journaling practice, right?
Yeah.
And let this like have evolved you to now you can go deeper with that practice. So it doesn't have to be just focusing on this and these 4 steps, but let us internalize it, let us grow from it, and let it be a part of how we live and life in every way, and how we do our practice in every way we choose to do practice.
Mhm. Mhm. Love it.
Does that resonate with with our watchers? What do you have to say? I want to know. Inquiring minds.
It takes a minute, just so you know. There's
Okay,
always a delay.
no
Um,
worries.
and that was me checking Instagram.
Okay, no worries. Okay, that's fair. So I want to talk to, okay, so first thing, I'm sorry, right? So finding that genuine place for I'm sorry, and understanding where that ownership of I'm sorry comes from. It's not just like, okay, I stole your cookie, so I'm sorry I stole your cookie. It's like, I'm sorry I created suffering and agitation in your life today by stealing your cookie. I'm sorry I created this outcome where your life wasn't just full of divine love and devotion and joy and pleasure in life, that you experienced a pain as a result of something that I contributed to. Even if I don't know how I contributed to it, I'm sorry for that, you know? And so, hey, Brandy, yeah, I love that. I love what you're saying because it's true for all of us. We do have layers and layers of karma to heal. And so this is like part of that journey. So, anyway, so that, let this be just a way that you can take that part deeper of knowing that it doesn't, there's some obvious things that we say I'm sorry for, and then there's those less obvious things that you're like, I don't even know, how can I be sorry for this? Like, this person caused me so much pain. How can I be sorry for, the fact that I somehow contributed to them getting, I don't know, losing their job or getting in a car accident or, whatever, because they're responsible for that themselves, right? They got themselves into that situation. And that's true. But for the purposes of this practice, like we get into that space and it's like, you know what? I don't want to cause suffering or harm to any living being. And
Yeah.
so I'm really sorry that I was a part of however that showed up for you. So that's, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Um, then we move on to please forgive me, right? And so seems it's pretty simple, it's straightforward. Please forgive me. Well, one of the more popular questions that people ask are, well, who are you asking for forgiveness?
Oh,
Is it the other person? Is it God? Is it some other divine force? Are you asking the universe for forgiveness? Are you asking yourself for forgiveness? Like, what does that look like? And so whatever the pantheon of your belief system, you can use that as a starting place.
Okay.
So if you believe in God, you can use, I'm asking God for forgiveness. If you don't believe in God, then you can say, okay, I'm asking that person for forgiveness. Or if you don't feel vulnerable enough, even for your own private practice, to ask that other person for forgiveness, then you can ask yourself for forgiveness. So all of these ways that we can ask for forgiveness are true. And what I find is that it depends on where you are in your practice. Like there's going to be some things that you're just like, okay, divine, sacred, like, please forgive me for, for neglecting my practice and the pain that I'm and suffering I'm causing in the world as a result of not being steadfast about doing my practice, or if we get down to like, I've had some mother issues, I've had some daddy issues. Okay, so to it could be hard to sit in meditation when there's so much hurt and betrayal and anger around certain relationships, and to think, okay, to my actual father who abandoned me or abused me, or whatever the story might be attached to that in your life, and say, please forgive me. That can be so hard to do, and you might have to work around to that. So you might be able to start with, dear, Cosmos, will you forgive me for my contribution for this pain and suffering that exists in the world? Or you might ask your higher self, is there a place in there to where I can be forgiven?
Okay.
Or you could say, can you forgive me through this other person? Or I mean, and this forgiveness stage can go both ways. We say, the prayer is please forgive me, but there's also in the meditation where we say, I forgive you. And that you can be like, I forgive you. And that could be self-directed. And it could be, Jessica, I forgive you. Right. And that can be a part of your, meditation. And so I might not be able to forgive myself yet. I might not be able to forgive someone who took my child from me, and caused all this pain and suffering. But I can ask the cosmos to forgive through me and let that be a meditation. And maybe it's resolved in one sitting. Maybe it takes 1,000 sittings. It's
Yeah.
different for each situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and Brandy had asked, like, does it continue? Meaning, is the slate ever clean? And it sounds like this is something that you would just keep doing. So she's asking the same thing I was.
Well, okay, so
Keep doing this.
if we're talking about karma, so the lesson of karma is like, once you clear karma, it's cleared. But you can create a new karma. And of course, we have billions of pixels of karma that needs to be cleared. So I would invite you to think of this as, once you clear something, it's cleared. But your initial setting, you may not think of all the ways to clear. And so you might have some residual work to do. But for all that you've already done, that's done. You don't have to revisit it anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
Thumbs up. Okay. um, I think one of the easiest pieces here to associate with is the thank you. Because, we've all heard of gratitude practices. We know how important it is being on the spiritual path. But we're also people who have difficulty being vulnerable sometimes. And we have difficulty accepting grace. We can sometimes offer empathy to others, but when it's offered to us, we might want to cloak ourselves and go into hiding. So I would invite you that when we're working on the thank you part, to not just use that gratitude journal level of like blissful gratitude, but to go deep and like really appreciate what would it look like if the universe truly forgave you for all of your, dare I say it, I'm going to use the word, sins, for all of your infractions, for every thought that was a negative thought,
Yeah.
for every step that was a misstep, for every choice that was a bad choice, for every ant that you might have killed, for every spider you got rid of, like for every possible infraction in your life. What if you received true, pure, unequivocal forgiveness? What if you allowed yourself to feel that? Just even saying that is like opening up some energy in my solar plexus and heart center here.
Yeah.
So think about that for a minute. Let's just take a minute and pause on that and just like, what would it be like? What kind of gratitude would I feel if I were actually forgiven for every possible infraction I've ever committed in this life or past lives?
Yeah.
Ooh, and if you can connect with that place, that is the spirit of Ho'oponopono. And now
That
you're ready to connect to love. Now you're ready to say, I love you.
this makes sense.
If you can offer yourself grace, you can offer any other person grace. If you can offer and receive love for yourself, you can give anyone else true love.
I think too, some of what you're saying is, regardless of how you're using the practice, of what stage you're in, and what you're really processing yourself, it all comes together, right? That all four pieces have to be within you as well, and whole with you, because oftentimes you get to this other place where it's external to you
Yeah.
because of what the turmoil you have inside yourself. And I think that a lot of times, depending on how you were raised, you can give that to other people before you can give it to yourself. And so I can see why she modernized it,
Yeah.
because she's probably seeing this pattern of how society has like evolved. And in that evolution, we were finding it so much easier to give gratitude, to give love, and not look internally.
Right. Yes. And then that's conditional love, isn't it?
Yes.
Because if it's not coming from a pure source, then it's easy to be like, I can love you when things are good. I'm happy to hang when there's no problems. But the minute there's a problem or something that feels abrasive to me, then I can withdraw my love. And the key to happiness is being able to love through all conditions, right? To experience joy and peace through all conditions. So this helps us clear up that karma so that we can enjoy that. We can be in that space.
I love it. Let's go backstage.
So, okay, so let's do a quick, we'll do a quick like public Ho'oponopono, and
Okay.
then we can go behind. And then if folks want to talk about a specific thing, we can maybe talk about how to cater it to your different your aspects. So,
Okay.
or situation. Okay. So, as we're sitting here, I think that an issue that everybody deals with is something to do with the body. Sometimes it's a body image issue. Sometimes it's a health issue. Sometimes it is like an actual injury, so illness or injury, or um, uh, maybe you're dealing with some sort of disorder, or maybe you just, for some reason, think that your body is ugly, but everyone else's body is beautiful. Um, or you're underweight or overweight or whatever it is. So I want to invite everyone to think for a minute, what issues might you have related to the body? And for ease, we're going to focus on, I mean, you could be a parent and maybe you're contributing to body issues or perspectives that your kids might have. So that would fit within this as well. But for the rest of us, let's just focus on your relationship with yourself and your own body. And whatever is the source of that pain, whatever causes you that dis-ease or concern related to your body, highlight on that in your mind and just recognize it. Just acknowledge that that pain and suffering has existed within you. And then say to that wound, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I caused this pain and suffering. I'm sorry for all the ways that I lived in ignorance that had me contribute to this pain and suffering. I'm sorry for all the ways that my innocence led me to a place of contributing to this pain, to this harm, to this hurt. I'm sorry for all the wisdom and healing that I ignored that had me perpetuate this pain. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry for all the harm I've done. I'm sorry for all the ways I was intentionally hurtful and harming and wounding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the physical pain that has resulted, emotional pain, and the spiritual contracts I caused to be disrupted. I am so sorry. I'm sorry for every minute you missed experiencing complete joy. I'm sorry for every second you did not experience peace. I'm sorry for every second of anxiety that stole love and joy from you. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Please, please, please forgive me. From the deepest, most purest place in your heart, please forgive me for all these infractions, all these wounds, all these hurts caused by me, contributed to by me. Please, please forgive me. Please help me to forgive myself. Please help me to forgive others who have done the same to me, towards those I know, towards those I love. Please, please forgive me and help me forgive others. Please forgive that ignorance. Please forgive that inappropriate humor. Please forgive those beliefs that I internalized that made it so easy for me to commit harm before I created peace. Please forgive me in this moment and in all past moments from the beginning of time. Please forgive me in this moment and all moments that have existed since the beginning of time. Please forgive me in this moment and all moments that have existed since the beginning of time. And as I am forgiven now and for the past, May I be forgiven for all of my future time throughout existence. Please forgive me. Let this debt be settled. Let this slate be cleared. Let me know the peace and comfort of forgiving and being forgiven. Thank you. Thank you for your forgiveness. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for helping me heal. Thank you for helping me move past these harmful behaviors. Thank you for resetting the clock and seeing me as a new being, a new loving being, a new emissary for peace and joy and love and kindness and empathy. Thank you for that grace and that gift. Thank you for holding the capacity for forgiveness. And thank you for extending that forgiveness as your grace. Thank you. I feel such deep gratitude and thanks that I am cleared of this guilt and this doubt, that I'm cleared of this hurt and this betrayal and this anger. I'm so thankful to be cleared of this frustration so that I may know peace, so that I may know love, and that all those I love will benefit from this love. I am so thankful. I thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all of the joy and bliss that you're pouring into me right now by the grace of your forgiveness, by your acceptance of my remorse. I thank you so deeply and genuinely with all of my being. I am so grateful. My body is radiating with this grace and gratitude. Those wounds that have pained me are eased. Those beliefs that have haunted me are dissipated. Those hang-ups that I've carried with me are released. All by my gratitude right now in this moment, now and forever. I'm so thankful. And from this place of newfound peace and clarity, I know with certainty how much I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love the magnificence of your heart, the breadth of your being. I love the capacity that you have to love. I love you for your forgiveness. I love you without it. I love you for giving me the space for this healing. And I love you for not even knowing it's happening. I love you. I love you. I love you. I can love you. And I do love you. I love you so much that it cannot be contained in this vessel that is my body. I love you so much that it is just shining throughout my home, throughout my city, throughout my country, and throughout this world. That's how much love I offer you. I love you. I love you and I feel how much I am loved by you. I love you and I feel how much I am loved by you. And I thank you. I am so grateful for your forgiveness. I am so sorry for any harm I've done, any pain I've caused. And I love you. I love you and I appreciate you and I'm grateful for you. And let us all marinate in this love.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Let's
So this is, oh, go ahead. Oh, do you
no,
want to
it's
go
okay.
behind?
Yes.
Okay. No, I was just going to say this is like a different version. Like there's one way where you can do it like a mantra where you can think about a thing and then just I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And I will say before we go behind the curtain, the other thing is that you don't have to do it in this order. You can, approach it from please forgive me and then I'm sorry and then thank you and then I love you, or just start with I love you. Sometimes, especially with family, that's a emotionally safe place to start and so on. So,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, we're gonna wrap up the live part now.
Okay.
And then everyone in the fireside, 1 second, and you will be able to join. I actually have to get Coco Collie the link. I just realized that.
Oh
Uh,
no.
that's fine. I'm gonna send it to you right now as we're wrapping up. But I was
Okay.
like, oh, I gotta get all this set up. So now it's going. Okay, so
Okay.
now you can join backstage. And we will see all of you there very shortly.
Okay.